are among the teams chasing that goal. So their meeting here at the Huntington Stadium could be crucial in deciding who goes up at the end of the Championship 1 season. A look at the table will show you just how close it is for the second promotion spot, maybe. Shrewsbury Rams well out in front at the moment. Still this 100% record. 8 points clear of Oldham, who are in second place. York City Knights, their opponents and hosts here tonight, are third, just a point behind Oldham. So really tight between those two. Tight between, in fact, Oldham in second place, all the way down to Swinton Lions, who are in sixth place. Just 4 points separating the teams there. Well, York in a confident mood on the back of a good win against Hunslet last time out, and no injury problems for them. They have Danny Ratcliffe at full-back, Mike Mitchell, John Oates, Tom Harbrecht, Dave Clayton, Adam Mitchell and Paul March. In the forwards, Mark Applegarth, Paul Hughes, Adam Sullivan, Rob Kelly, Richard Knight and David March. And on the bench, Tom Hodgson, Chris Clough, Jordan Ross and recent signing from Featherstone Rovers, Sean Hesketh, and the player coach is Paul March, a busy man. Well, Oldham had a late problem ahead of this game, very late in fact, with Dave Allen being forced to pull out with a calf injury, which meant that coach Tony Benson had to shuffle things round a bit. He has Paul O'Connor at full back, then it's Andy Ballard, Danny Halliwell, Marcus St Hilaire, Lee Greenwood, Neil Roden and James Coyle. In the forwards, Paul Heighton, who captains the side, Gary Sykes, Craig Robinson, a rare run out in the second row for Paul Riley as a result of Dave Allen's withdrawal, alongside Tommy Golden, and Chris Baines is at loose forward. And on the bench, Thomas Coyle, fit again, Jamie Ianson, Jason Bolts, and a recall for Wayne Kerr because of that late injury to Allen, and the coach is Tony Benson. Well, this is a big night for the York City Knights. So they don't get much television coverage here at the Huntington Stadium. The club, of course, has had its ups and downs, very much on the up at the moment. And this game here tonight on the eastern fringes of the city of York has attracted a great crowd. The western stand that we're in here, that's the one you can see in the shadows this evening, is the place to be. But on the opposite side of the ground as well, they're bathing in the evening sunlight here, and it is great to see the crowds turning out at these games to support rugby league at this level. Of course, there are plenty of other attractions in the city of York, but the fans are here for this one tonight. You've got the Jorvik Museum, of course, the Minster just up the road, and the Railway Museum and the Shambles as well. But the attraction here tonight at the Huntington Stadium is the York City Knights and Oldham, and York looking to go up to second in the table above Oldham if they can win this one, and that would be quite an achievement. Of course, Dewsbury are the team to catch, but York supporters hoping that their side can overhaul this Oldham side led out there by Paul Heighton. But it's going to be a tall order for York. This is a very experienced Oldham team, notwithstanding that late injury to Dave Allen, which has forced Paul Riley to switch to the second row. This is a team that maybe should be challenging Dewsbury Rams a bit closer at the top of the table. That certainly was the expectation before the season started with the recruiting that Oldham had done. As it is, they're second in the table and looking to consolidate that position this evening against the home team, the York City Knights, led out by Paul Hughes, their captain, and this really an unsung York team, a side that not many people are fancying to be challenging, certainly in the top three of the table. They've got better as the season has progressed, and the crowds have come back here to the Huntington Stadium on the back of that. And the March twins very much at the fore of this York effort here this evening. They're a pretty competitive pair, they are, Paul and David. They were in their Super League days, and they still are in their Championship days. A beautiful evening. The only thing that the players might just be a little bit wary of is the pitch, because it is rock hard, very firm, great conditions, not a lot for the players to complain about, certainly won't be for the supporters to complain about. And referee Jamie Leahy just about to get us underway, so let's join our commentary team. Terry O'Connor, Barry McDermott, and first of all, Ben Pro.
With Dewsbury Rams continuing their 100% start to the season at the top, the race is on to make it to that Championship 1 Grand Final, and there's just a point separating third place York and tonight's visitors, Oldham. There is the Oldham coach, Tony Benson, looking on in this bright sunshine tonight. You can see it could be a problem for some of the players. One of the coaching staff there shielding his face. It's a month since the Ruffians last tasted Championship 1 action, and they've won their last 4 in the league. York, though, have suffered just 1 league defeat here, and that was to the runaway leaders, Dewsbury Rams. Just about to get things underway, and it'll be York to kick, Oldham to kick off, I should say, in the shape of Neil Roden. York then with the first possession as Ratcliffe collects that.
It's a very tight, compact stadium here at York. Just looking at both teams, you wonder whether both teams will decide to play it around the middle. Applegarth and Sullivan for York. 2 big front rows. There's Sullivan on the ball. In the Oldham side, Heighton Robinson and Jamie Hanson with Jason Bolts to come on.
Adam Sullivan and Mark Applegarth very impressive against Hunslet recently. This, meanwhile, Richard Knight for the Knights. Now Applegarth again. Taken down by Paul Heighton, the Oldham captain. Dally Halliwell in there as well. Move to the centre of the field and the kick comes in. Straight down the throat of Paul O'Connor. And O'Connor starts this counter for Oldham. It's a good chase. It's put down by Paul Hughes.
Good defensive line there by this York side. Bill commented on the March twins now. These 2 guys, when they're in a team, they are competitive. They've got to be very disciplined tonight. They're up against a real big physical Oldham side. But one thing that'll give York a lift is no Rob Roberts and no Dave Allen for Oldham.
Rob Roberts, medial ligament damage. He sees a specialist tomorrow, but speculation that he might be able to postpone a knee operation and play on this season. Meanwhile, this is Heighton for Oldham. It's David March who gets the tackle in, and Roden has it now. It's going to go to the air on the last tackle. Good positioning by David Clayton, and Clayton takes it well, but it's a good chase, and they almost fought Clayton over the...
That's a fantastic kick by Oldham of the Oldham team. He's not the quickest of half-backs, Neil Roden, number 18 in your screen there, but very clever. Very well. I've heard it on the grapevine that this Oldham side have come here with one thing in mind, and that's victory.
Richard Knight has it for Oldham. The ball comes out, and via Ratcliffe it finds Adam Mitchell. This is Tom Harbright now, and Harbright taken high initially by Danny Halliwell. Referee happy with it. Harbright plays the ball.
Surrender! Stand! Hold! Go!
Here is Paul March now, and David March gets into the action down the centre of the field for York. Last one coming up, Paul March again. Just slot to kick into this near side. Again, Paul O'Connor in a good position and tidies up for Oldham.
We'll just have another look at this Neil Roden kick. It goes up in the air, and does the ball get grounded behind the line? I think it does. I think that should have been a dropout.
2 movement. Hold there, Rob.
Let off then for York, and Oldham have it now. 2 tackles gone.
Hold there, Dev. Wait.
That was Craig Robinson. Now it's Tommy Goulden for the visitors.
Move. Hold there. Go.
Former Barla captain Goulden. This is Roden working to the left again. Chris Baines has it now.
5.
Last one coming up for Oldham there. 42 metres away from that York line. Roden. It's James Coyle who puts a high kick in. Sun in the face of these York players. And it's Ratcliffe who takes it well.
And that was a good take by Ratcliffe, but early on in the game they're already targeting Hawks and Clayton. You've got Neil Roden looking up, he's probing what's on the left-hand side. He thinks there's a real weakness in York's right-hand side, and that's where he seems to be going all the time.
Mike Mitchell played the ball, and this is Mark Applegarth now. Good tackle from Riley, who started this game. In the end, he was named on the bench initially by Tony Benson due to that injury to David Allen. This is Lee Greenwood
But that's a confidence from this York side. When they've been coming out of their own 20, they've tried to offload the ball, free up the ball, look for second phase rugby. On the third tackle there, they've gone for field position, they've gone for the 40-20. They're really looking to play expansive rugby every time they have the ball.
And that's the second or third time they've gone for an early kick test. So I think that what that says is they want to get away from their own line as quickly as they can and put some pressure on this Oldham side.
James Coyle with the pass. This is Paul Heighton. It's a strong run from Heighton. Gets Oldham on the front foot again. Former Salford man. Sykes finds Roden, and Roden has Halliwell on his outside over on that right part of the field. This is Craig Robinson now. Last one coming up for Oldham. Move it to the centre of the field, and James Coyle is there. Puts a grubber kick in. It bounces horribly there for John Oakes. St Hilaire for Oldham. That's the turnover.
James Coyle putting a neat little kick into the ground. He's kicked it into the ground. The ground is very hard. The ball's going to bounce up and it's going to go anywhere. You've got to make sure that if the kicker puts the kick in, you've got to put some pressure on.
Seeing the high kicks because of the sun, and now the grubber kicks on this hard surface. So they really are making the most of the conditions, both teams, as David March plays the ball. This is Paul March now. Good offload as well. Finds his twin again, David. Three of them to bring him down. Paul Heighton round the legs there. Really are the heartbeat of this York City Knights side, the March twins. Paul, of course, the player coach. This is Adam Sullivan now. Sullivan dumped on his back. It's a good tackle. Came in from Heighton again. Adam Mitchell has it and finds Harbright. It's not the best pass. A knock on. Coming in from Mitchell.
A mistake there by Harbright. He's put the ball on the floor, but Mike Mitchell couldn't bend down low enough to pick that up. But they're looking to move the ball. Mike Mitchell, he's got some speed to burn. They definitely look to set him free. But again, good play by the March twins. Coming out, they were trapped in the right-hand corner. They had no real problem making the yardage coming out, and Oldham have really got to stiffen up this defence.
They're in attack now, though, Oldham, and it's a good ball to find Paul O'Connor from Neil Roden. The fullback sets off again. It's an important tackle from Rob Kelly. It's a quick play the ball, though, for Oldham. This could be dangerous as far as York are concerned. Danny Halliwell in possession. Oldham are his 7th club, Danny Halliwell. 9 years since his debut campaign with Halifax. That was James Coyle, now Paul Heighton. Three of them to bring him down. Applegarth, one of them. There's Richard Knight in there. Heighton plays the ball just 10 metres or so away. James Coyle, Roden throws a dummy, and Roden is in here. The first try is an Oldham try, and it's scored by Neil Roden. It's his 4th of the season, and the visitors go ahead.
First try of the evening, scored by Oldham.
Played in 2 of Oldham's 3 grand finals. Now he wants to get them to another one in 2009.
It's Paul Heighton who sets them virtually in the middle of the field. There's all kinds of dummy runners here. The York defence are all at sea. And Neil Roden, that's his trademark, that. The little show and go. But it's the runners off the ball. The March non-tackle. Paul March takes the dummy. He just leaves a big gap for Neil Roden to go through. And they post their first tries of the game.
Also an Academy Grand Final back in 1995 for Neil Roden. Returned to the Ruffians a couple of years ago after spells at Batley and Lee, and Andy Ballard, already 87 goals this year to add to the 17 tries he's got. Prolific point scorer in 2009. That's a good kick to start things off, and Oldham lead by 6 points to 0.
And this Oldham side, they guided round the pitch. They've got James Coyle and Neil Roden. A lot of structure in the set to 6. And that guy in your pitch can play rugby with the best of them. He's a real good organiser. But look, James Coyle takes the ball to the line. And Roden just looks up, sees March. He's out of position. His shoulders are facing the wrong way. And that's just good rugby brain by Neil Roden. A real talent in this division.
Oldham, National League 2 Grand Final runners-up in each of the last 2 years, losing out to Doncaster and Featherstone. And the way that Dewsbury have started 2009, it's looking at this stage that if they want to go up, they're going to have to go through a grand final again. This is Paul O'Connor. Gary Sykes filters the ball to his left-hand side. It's good York cover, though, coming in from Sullivan. Kelly in there as well to bring Chris Baines to the ground. James Coyle, Danny Halliwell, long pass out to the right-hand side to find Andy Ballard. Stays in the field of play there. Paul Riley. Driven into the turf by Applegarth. Paul Hughes upstairs as well. Kick comes in from James Coyle. It's a good one as well. He was under a little bit of pressure on the last tackle. And Danny Ratcliffe picks it up just a metre in to his own half.
The chase is good from Oldham. They're quite conservative in what they're doing. Choosing to attack those fringes. We've already picked up that they're going to York's left on that occasion. They had a poke at the right-hand side, got some joy, put the kick in, and they're making York come away from their own line now.
Paul Heighton with the tackle on Mark Applegarth. 3 gone already for the City Knights. It's now Tom Harbright. Returns after missing that game at Hunslet with a knee injury. Applegarth again, he's got through a lot of work in this opening 10.5 minutes. Taken down by Craig Robinson. Now, on the last tackle, well, he thought about the kick and it's all gone wrong because Tommy Goulden has it for Oldham, and Tommy Goulden isn't the fastest, but Tommy Goulden will get in, and it's a good try, his 6th try of the season. And the referee, Jamie Leahy, gives the try. Tommy Goulden with the intercept. He sniffed out the opportunity, and the former Barley skipper gets the 2nd try for Oldham.
This is all about good kick pressure. It was going to go from the first man. Bit of confusion, comes to March, who tries the chip and chase. And what about this from the big fella? I'm not sure he was that pleased it was in his hands. It's a long way to go for a big man. He makes it the half length of the pitch, gets the ball down. Just look at this. Right into his hands. Go on, big fella. Pins his ears back, does the right thing, ball in the right arm, gets it down back of the net.
Would it be harsh to call it a present? Well, he's 28 on Tuesday, so certainly an early birthday present as far as Tommy Goulden is concerned. Paul Ballard, Andy Ballard, I should say, with the conversion attempt. It's an identical one to his first one, and the result is also the same. So Oldham now lead by 12 points to nil.
What York mustn't do now is let the heads drop down. They're still in this game. There's only been 2 tries scored, but they're still willing to throw that ball around. Tommy Goulden just plucked that ball out the air. He showed a lot of urgency to get there. And again, he's got his side further in front. But York, whilst they've got the March twins on the pitch, they'll still be in this contest.
Also got a try against York last year. That was at Oldham in a 36-24 win. Tommy Goulden. And Oldham back in possession again. Here is Lee Greenwood. Sullivan and Paul Hughes combined to effect the tackle, and York being starved of possession now by this Oldham side.
Good shot, good contact there.
But that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to somebody, when something's gone against you, to lift you. And Mark Applegarth took it on himself then to get out the line and tried to pull that shot on to dislodge that ball.
Danny Halliwell gets Oldham over halfway. Tackle again coming in from Paul Hughes. Roden finds Tommy Goulden, the latest try scorer. Last one coming up. Neil Roden. It's a banana type kick this time. Applegarth is near it, goes past him, and eventually Tom Harbright picks up for York, but they're certainly varying the kicks, Oldham.
They're varying the kicks, they're varying the players in and around the ruck, targeting the big guys from York. But they really are up for this game, Oldham. And here they get a penalty. This is what York needed. Everything seemed to be going Oldham's way. And this is just a relieving penalty. All the hard work was done. Danny Halliwell just offside, then giving 10 cheap metres away. Obviously the kick to come. Jamie Leahy there, the referee. Stopping play a minute.
Right, give me a signal, mate, then I'll just wait till I give you a signal.
We'll just find out what his problem is here. It's a blood bin, that's what it is. Paul Riley. He won't mind a bit of blood, won't Paul Riley? done the hard yards with Huddersfield, Wakefield, one of the toughest in the game, never mind the competition.
One of the more minor injuries for Paul Riley, of course, had that back injury.
It won't spoil his good looks anyway, that's for sure.
Coming on is number 7 Thomas Coyle replacing number 4 Paul Riley.
York in possession in a good area of the field. They need to hit back, and it's Applegarth who tries to drive the ball up the field. 10 metres away. Tackles in the bank here for the City Knights. It's with Paul March, goes to the left-hand side. That was Mitchell. This is David March now. All wrapped up by Halliwell, and Thomas Coyle in there as well, off the bench now. Playing in an ankle splint today, Thomas Coyle. Specially designed for the purpose. We'll be glad to taste action again. This is Rob Kelly for York. Last tackle coming up. Paul Hughes. It's Paul March with the kick. Caused all sorts of confusion. It could still be in. John Oakes was first to react, and John Oakes awarded the try. His 10th of the season, but he's Mr. Consistent. John Oakes plays his 48th consecutive match tonight. He's not missed a game in 2 seasons. And that's his 10th try, and it comes at a crucial time for York.
This try comes about from the never say die attitude of John Oakes. For any young kids watching out there, whenever you think the ball's covered, you can't get to it, there's nothing left. Just watch what Oakes does here, the number 3 in your picture. Never give up. He's in the right place at the right time and gets his just reward. At first you think O'Connor's dealt with it, you think it's bobbling on the floor, he's every right to pick that up. But the bounce lets him down. And that's a try.
11 tries in 30 appearances last year, already on 10 for 2009 now. John Oakes, former Dewsbury Academy man. And now it's Adam Mitchell. 46 goals as Tony Benson looks on. The first setback really for him so far. To those 2 Oldham tries, York have hit back. Adam Mitchell, 6 goals in the home win against Oldham in 2008. Can he open his account tonight? He's missed that one, but York on the board. They trail though by 12 points to 4.
In the build-up to that try, Danny Halliwell give the penalty away, and you've got to be disciplined. If you're not disciplined, you've got to make sure you defend your set of 6. And this was just good play by Paul March. Again, a neat little kick, and the urgency of John Oakes to follow up and to put the pressure on the Oldham players to come away with that try.
The urgency from John Oakes there rewarded. The restart is a high one. It's Harbright who collects it. Immediately they swarm around him. It's Chris Baines who makes the tackle alongside Craig Robinson.
And that will give this York side a bit of field position. If they can build field position, they can challenge this Oldham side into making mistakes, into giving penalties away. With good runs like that and good yardage plays, this York side are a very, very good side. I nearly put the mockers on them, Ben.
They ran up the highest score in Championship 1 this season with a 80 points to 6 win over London Scholars, and York in the shape there of Richard Knight. Almost through, but the referee has awarded an obstruction here.
Yeah, that's right. Richard Knight just comes behind our Applegarth there, just obstructing the Oldham player. A bit of a let-off for the Oldham side, because you felt that momentum was with York. They made good yards when they had the ball, and Oldham looked like they were struggling to stop that momentum.
And a bit of news from the touchline. Let's join Rod Studd.
Well, Tony Benson's mood won't be helped by the fact that Paul Riley's off the field with a bumping when they conceded that try. The prognosis is that his nose is broken, but the problem the doctor's got is he's having difficulty stopping the bleeding, which he's got to do first before he can do anything else. So Riley has got a big problem here with that nose because they can't stop the bleeding at the moment.
Riley himself starting, or a late starter to this game, and already off the field.
Defence wins you games. Look at the urgency in York's defence here to push the Oldham player back. He tries to offload the ball, he loses possession. That's good play, that. Defence, defence, defence.
Hang on. What time, Paul?
York then in possession from this scrum, and it's Adam Mitchell who feeds it. The Oldham reception is there though, and Roden leading the defence. That was on John Oakes, York try scorer. This is Richard Knight, over halfway for York. Paul March, they've got into it since their try, the City Knights, and now Mark Applegarth has a second go here. Mark Applegarth, a great offload as well. That was great play from Applegarth, and it's still going into the hands of Rob Kelly. York buoyed by that four-pointer, and the crowd lifting as well here. Adam Mitchell manages to offload. This is David March now, and David March looking to promote the ball himself there. It's an important tackle. Tommy Goulden. David March just 5 metres away. This is the last one though coming up for York. So Paul Hughes gets it back for Danny Radcliffe. It's a kick, just a grubber kick, too much on it though. And James Coyle collides with that advertising hoarding on the just behind the post, but it's a quick restart from Andy Ballard, and he really is one of the quickest players on the pitch. It's one of the ploys that Oldham use, and Tony Benson very alive to it.
Ben, that kick that we saw York use, I think that's probably the knowledge that York have got, that this pitch is very hard, very difficult to deal with a bouncing ball, almost like concrete in patches. It's whether this Oldham side can adjust to that. Mentally, they know that when the ball's on the floor, the red lights are flashing. Let's get hold of it as quick as we can.
Oldham hitting back. Jamie Hansen is on from the bench for the Ruffians. Here's James Coyle now. Puts a kick over the top, but Danny Radcliffe has positioned himself well, and Radcliffe launches the counter here. And good pace from Danny Radcliffe.
And Sean Hesketh, the number 35 from York, just coming onto the pitch as we see Oldham give a penalty away. Just watch out for this fella, very explosive with the ball and puts good shots on. Oldham trying to slow the play down a little bit too much for the liking of the referee. They give a penalty away.
Jason Bolt, the offender in the eyes of Jamie Leahy. But he just his first involvement.
Wait!
Harbright plays the ball. York move over halfway now. The shape of Chris Clough.
Move! Wait! Go!
Now it's Paul March, and then Richard Knight. Gets the offload away, and then lack of concentration for a moment there has cost Paul March. He was looking to see what he was going to do with the ball before he received it, and York have lost possession.
But that particular play, they're offloading the ball, and they're not afraid to pass the ball to somebody that's maybe not expecting it. The York side have a mentality, we've got to play a bit. We can't just keep trudging it down the middle. We can't set plays up. We need to ask some questions of the Oldham defence. So you can't be too critical. For the last 6 minutes, that's worked for York. Got them a try and got them in some good position.
Short pass from Roden finds Chris Baines. It's Roden again. This time picking out Jason Bolts.
Hold, go.
Strong run from Jamie Hansen. Streams of forward from the terraces.
Very flat pass to Hansen. Short, stocky player. Needs some attention when he's got the ball, Hansen.
Coyle with the dummies, cutting through them, and James Coyle beginning to adjust to the tempo of this game. 5 metres away now. Thomas Coyle tries to go over. Held up though.
Turnover 10 metres out.
No doubt about that. The York players, the goal line defence, very good on that occasion. Coyle picks up and goes from dummy half, and look what they do, they catch him. They're not too bothered about pushing him back over the line. They just catch him and keep hold of the ball.
Thomas, closer at marker.
So, ball turned over and York back in possession. Tommy Goulden with the tackle.
Move! Hold it, Danny, wait! Go!
Jordan Ross
Another substitution.
Very low error count in this game, fellas.
Going on, number
A lot of
16,
good rugby
Ross.
league. We get a lot on these Thursday nights. They might not be the most expansive games, but the pure quality, sheer endeavour for blokes that don't always put 100% effort into what... No, I'll correct myself. They don't use rugby league as a job. Rugby league isn't their profession. They have other jobs as well, but they're just as committed when they play. I've got it in the end.
Well, the commitment already on show between third and second in the Cooperative Championship 1. York pouring forward, it's a great ball as well, and Paul Hughes, the captain, has it. It's out to the near side, and David Clayton is in. David Clayton as York swept 50 metres upfield, and David Clayton drowns that pressure with the second York try. It's his 4th of the season. Only got 1 in 7 appearances last year, already 4 for 2009, and York pull themselves back to within 4 points with the kick to come.
York are inspired here tonight. It's good set-up play, a little drop-off, back to the ball player, good feet, nice offloads. We'd already mentioned that they're playing a bit of hot potato rugby league. That ball's made available. He's got no right to get that ball away. And it pays dividends for the York team. Just watch how they play. No look, no look. And they're just passing it with no fear of whether it sticks or whether it doesn't. Sometimes that can be a bit dangerous, but not on that occasion. Great score from David Clayton.
Former Bradford and Dewsbury man, David Clayton, the 20-year-old. Tony Benson has really got them playing an Paul March, I should say, giving them an expansive game, and it's come up trumps so far. His contract up in November, Paul March. Adam Mitchell has produced a magnificent kick from the sideline. And so York now just 2 points adrift. They trail by 12 points to 10.
Ben, his contract may be up come the end of the year, but Paul March will be giving himself a contract. He's the coach of this team, and the amount of times he takes the ball tonight, and look at the strength of him. He gets the ball away to his brother David, who again just pops the ball up, and there he is, David Clayton. He bends his back, and he gets this York side back into the game. But the never say die attitude from this York side, you've got to admire it.
Paul March took over from Mick Cook in 2008. Just a year into what he says is a 3-year plan that definitely involves promotion to the Championship. York in possession again. They try to go for back-to-back tries. Oldham defence is good though, coming in from Goulden and Bolts. Again, they've passed their way out of trouble here, Oldham, and Sean Hesketh has it now.
But again, 10 yards off your line, looking to offload that ball and play second phase rugby. But the good thing for York is there's players that are backing them up. Every time they get the ball and they push forward, there's somebody in support.
If you're Tony Benson now, Tez, you're getting the message onto the Oldham players. Lock up that ball, it's killing us.
The offload's the key to York's success so far, as Sean Hesketh is put to ground on the last tackle. Tony Benson watching on.
And there it is, 6 offloads to nothing.
Tom Harbright's kick is straight down the centre of the field. That's where Paul O'Connor is stationed. The former Widnes man brings it back. Good pace again from the number 1.
Good returner of the ball, Paul O'Connor, one of the most dangerous in this division.
Greenwood cuts back inside. Tackled by Chris Clough, one of the York substitutes this evening. Here is Tommy Goulden. Thomas Coyle for James. Now Paul O'Connor, second involvement in this move.
Get square.
What do Oldham have up their sleeve here? It's the Coyles who combine, and then Baines puts the ball down. Penalty for offside though.
A good distance as well.
That's a bit of a let off that.
Wait, please.
York had done all the hard work trying to dominate around that rope, and they were really slowing this Oldham team down. But they've given cheap field position, and there they are. With like James Coyle and Neil Roden, you don't want any of these guys anywhere near your line.
Bonus possession then coming up for Oldham. Can they make the most of it and get over that York City Knights try line again? Thomas Coyle for Neil Roden.
Good line.
Escaping effort there of Richard Knight.
Fantastic line speed from Richard Knight. He forced that error. He forced it. It's Sykes who knocks the ball off. Just watch his defensive line speed here. You could argue that there was interference there, but the enthusiasm showed by York whenever they're on goal line defence, where is Tony Benson? That's why he turns round.
The coach saw an opportunity missed there after they got that penalty in a good part of the field. As it is, York have possession in the shape of Jordan Ross, working it to that far side through Mike Mitchell. Heavy tackle from Jason Bolts there. York do have a penalty for holding down in the end.
And again, all the little things that you're building up, whether you're building up pressure with the ball, without the ball, this is just a simple little, that is just silly play. You cannot do that. You cannot put your arm around the opposition's head, and that's why it's the Jason Bolts. It's a grapple tackle. He's brought the York player to ground, and again, all the hard work that they've done, they are now defending in their own half.
Go.
Tony Benson will not be happy with that at all, and York trying to make the most of this opportunity now through Chris Clough. Central position for the Knights. Tom Hodgson. Now it's Sean Hesketh. He was looking to offload the ball, and then the ball does come free.
Oh, I think that's a harsh call as well. I was just going to make the point about the different tackling techniques that both sides are using. Nobody's took care of the ball there. Baines is more interested in getting Sean Hesketh on his back, down to the ground. He's not bothered about the ball. The ball is the threat. Defend the threat.
So Oldham now in possession.
Here we are, fellas, wait. Go.
That was Paul O'Connor. Now Marcus St Hilaire into the action.
Second. Move. Go.
Thomas
That was
Coyle.
a good run.
Back to one. There's 6 more.
There's 6 more
There's 6
for
more. Get onto it.
Oldham here. Roden has it.
0. Hands out.
You want one of your big chargers to come up with a big run. Jamie Hansen run really hard. Neil Roden earning his side a penalty because the York defenders spun around the side, wouldn't let him up to play. But that's because the urgency that he's trying to get up is forcing the opposition into giving a penalty away.
Go.
Here he is again, the big guy.
No stealing.
Because of his low centre of gravity, he's falling on his front.
You're all right.
And that's the difference again. I'm sorry to keep labouring the point, but York's main concern is the ball. They've locked that ball up. All right, there's a bit of drive there, but look at the work that they're doing on the floor.
Here is Tommy Goulden. Another of the big men in this Oldham side. Thomas Coyle, James Coyle. Now Roden. It's a great pass. It's another great try for Oldham. They cut them to ribbons there, and they've got in again. Tony Benson's side. I think it's Chris Baines who's got in the loose forward.
This is just good hands. They work the side from their left to the right. Neil Roden. You just saw Paul O'Connor on that angle out of the back, and I think that's what distracted the York defence. Nice hands, Neil Roden off his inside foot on a good line, Chris Baines, and that's all he does. Cuts back against the grain, and because the York defence think this ball's going behind to Paul O'Connor, they don't account for Baines, and Baines picks up a nice sweet try.
Great scoring pass from Neil Roden, and Chris Baines with his 3rd try of the season. Andy Ballard faultless so far. That should extend now. 3 from 3 now for Ballard. And Oldham extend their lead. They're ahead now by 18 points to 10.
But again, when will players learn? You've got to defend that next set of 6. We say it all the time, but if you're willing to give up the penalties and you're willing to give up the field position, you've got to defend your line. And that guy in your picture, Chris Baines, just hits a really, really good line. And they're very hard to defend. When you're pushing out and you're chasing out really hard, it's very tough to defend when someone's coming back against the grain.
That's his third try of the season, Chris Baines. Before that, 4 tries in 65 appearances before 2009, so prolific this season. This is Lee Greenwood for Oldham. Thomas Coyle for James Coyle. Roden, they're the 3 that set up that try, of course, for Baines a moment ago. And a great pass off the floor, finds Paul O'Connor in space. Paul O'Connor is quick, and O'Connor accelerates away, gives it to Marcus Saint-Hilaire.
He's lost it.
Saint-Hilaire finds Thomas Coyle, Coyle for Roden. They can sense a try here. Oldham, last one coming up. For back-to-back 4-pointers. James Coyle, they go to the left-hand side this time. It's a forward pass, though.
That was a forward pass. Bit of a rush play on the last play. Whenever you come on the short side, it's always a gamble. But what about the pace of Paul O'Connor? Did Marcus Saint-Hilaire lose this ball? No, I don't think so. I think he keeps control of it. Blistering pace from Paul O'Connor.
Marcus!
Let off for York, but they've lost possession again, and Hesketh is knocked on. There's no advantage, so Oldham will have a scrum now.
Sean Hesketh, he looks up, he just takes his eye off the ball, looks at the defender. It was Chris Baines who was coming out of the line to put that shot on him. But James Coyle's telling his players, you've got to get me the quick play of the balls. He was going mad at his brother. He needs a quick early ball. He was probably forced into that forward pass because he was trying to play the play before he had the ball in his hands.
And that's why, Tez, York are doing the work on the ground. He can't allow Oldham to play it at their pace.
That was James Coyle, and this is Danny Halliwell. Taken by Tom Harbright, but that's how close Oldham are. And it's Jason Bolts trying to use his strength. Now James Coyle on the bounce, finds Paul O'Connor. O'Connor thought about the offload, he's put to ground in the end. Just 5 metres short by Sean Hesketh. Roden, that was Goulden, puts a kick in, looking for Lee Greenwood, it was too long. Good option.
Yeah, Tommy Goulden, the back row, are forced to put a left-footed kick in. Just kinks off to the left. Normally back rows aren't required to kick, but they're having a crack, they're having a stab. York continuing this tactic of offloading the ball whenever and wherever they can.
It's adventurous play from the City Knights, and Hesketh has it now. Clough, I should say, Chris Clough inside for Applegarth.
Number 35, Sean Hesketh. Returning is number 29, Mark Applegarth.
York moving to the right-hand side of the field. That was Richard Knight. Now it's David March, faced by Goulden. They're wrapping the offload up. Roden was in there trying to do that.
But that's better play, Ben, that they have noticed now that Rochdale, that York are offloading this ball. But again, good shape.
Great ball. It's a good run as well from Jordan Ross. They've cut them apart again here. It's Tom Harbright who goes in. Tom Harbright for York City Knights into double figures for 2009. Former Castleford player, of course, just 1 try in 5 appearances at the Jungle. 3 for York in 7 last year. And Tom Harbright now could get York once the kick comes to within 2 points of Oldham.
Other than the opening 15 minutes, York have won every battle, every challenge in this match. They're winning the floor, they're winning the collision, and now they're starting to win the scoreboard. A very determined performance, because look at the pace. They're hitting holes, laying off passes, using footwork, all key ingredients in a rugby league match.
He's also the development officer here at the Huntington Stadium, Tom Harbright. Certainly developed York in this game. Their challenge picked up by that, and Adam Mitchell looking for his second success. It's not the easiest kick again for him that Harbright has given him, but York won't be too concerned about that. They're 4 points behind now. This would halve that deficit. Push around the Huntington Stadium. It's been a noisy crowd, trying their best there, but the kick missed by Mitchell. Harbright's try though, and Oldham lead by just 4 points, 18-14 now.
Real good expansive play by this York side. Never said that attitude. Did he offload the ball? Did he hit a short ball, long ball? That's just a good effort that. They break through, and big Tom Harbright's there in support to back up and get York the try.
Away we go.
Restart is high again. Dealt with comfortably though, and Sean Hesketh put to ground. I think it was Chris Clough. This is Hodgson.
Go.
Jamie Hansen effects that tackle. Good strong running though from York. They decided to keep hold of the ball this time. That was Jordan Ross, another of the substitutes for Paul March this afternoon. And now Adam Mitchell trying to carve his way through. Danny Halliwell puts him on the floor, but York just about over halfway. A couple of tackles left. Here is Chris Clough again. Applegarth. Could be the last play coming up in this first half. Reverse kick. Too long.
Can Oldham, with 20 seconds left, get anywhere near the York line? I don't think so, Ben. I think, as I said before, York have won every key battle in this game. They look more enthusiastic, they look more imaginative, and they look like they're prepared to go a little bit more in the effort stakes as well.
That's the last play of this first 40 minutes. It's been an end-to-end first half for the teams lying third and second in the Cooperative Championship 1, and there's just 4 points in it at half-time. And at the break, it's Oldham who lead by 18 points to 14.